Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we are able to increment this employee, right? That means the employee salary. So how can do that work? I hope it's very much clear to you. So right now we insert this data, that means the 23, that is ID, that means the employee ID. So this employee ID we incremented was a 1000. So right now our present salary as a 5000. So before that was actually the 4000. So now I want to actually get these details. So if you want to get these details, I think you already know what exactly the things you have to do. So right now I also want to complete these portions into the employee our salary list into the list page. There is another button as a details, right? So now I want to actually add this route. So that is in our view page. Now go to our view page again. So that is our view page, right? So before I have created one of the route for the incremented salary. So right now I want to add another one. That will be our details. I want to make it as a employee, and that is a salary details, right? So that will be one of the route, and also here we have to get this route with a specific one of the ID, that means the user employee ID, right? So now let's do that work. So that will be one of the get method, and that is our route. Now go to our web route. Into the web route, I copy it. After that I paste it. Okay, so that will be first of all our route name. Our route name will be here, I name it as a employee salary and the details. I copy it. So that will be employee salary and details. And now I want to update that part, not that increment. It will be as a employee salary details. That will be on our URL and then our ID. So now in our employee salary controller here, I want to create one of the method as a salary details. I name it as a salary and then details. Perfect. So now we have to create this method. We have to create this method in our employee salary controller. Now go to our employee salary controller here. After this now I want to create new one as a public and then function, and then our method will be as a salary details here. And also we have to get our this ID, because that is our requested ID, right? So now I want to add this ID. That will be as a ID. Perfect. So now first work we have to get our this user a specific that means a specific this requested user. So I take one of the data and I take one of the variable. I name it as a details. Okay, I name it as a details, and then our user model, right? With this user model I want to find a specific row ID data. That means I find our this requested data. That will be our data. Okay, and also we have to get this data. That means we have to get our details data in our this table, that is our employee salary logs, right? So from to this position we have to get it. Only we have to put one of the condition, our this employee ID will be our user table ID, right? So only we have to actually get it. So better after that I take another variable. I take the data, and then I take variable. I just name it as a salary log, salary underscore log, whatever you choose. So right now I name it this one, and then our model, that is our employee salary log. All right, so that is our employee salary log. So make that sure you load it. So I have already loaded because of previously I have also used it. So that is our employee salary log. So into the employee salary log I want to put one of the condition as a where condition, where our this employee salary log, they have one of the field as I told you, that is one of the foreign key of our user. So that is our employee ID. Okay, employee ID. So this employee ID will be our this specific requested user ID. So I take that things with this. So better I want to pass it. So that will be our, with this I want to access our user table ID, right? So that will be our ID. Perfect. And when it will be matched, then I want to get this data. I simply get this data, right friend? And after that if you want to check it, I want to first of all check it, then I will go to the another view page. So I want to check our this salary log. So with this DD I want to check it. Okay, you can actually check it with the, I make it with the 2 array. So with this 2 array I want to first of all check it we perfectly getting this data or not. So if you now click as a save all, I click as a save all. So right now I have also incremented one user ID data as a 23 data, right? That means right now if you click as a refresh, and now that is our test user. Now if you go to that as a view, yes, you can see friend, now it's perfectly getting our two incremented data. That means that is our previous one as a 4000, and now I incremented it, so that is our 1000 is incremented, right? Perfect. It's now perfectly getting total history of this employee ID. You can see the employee ID as a 23, so that is a 23 all that user data, right? That means it's perfectly getting all the data. So now I want to do actually visible this data with a specific one of the table page. So that's all I want to do. So better I put some of the note for you. So here I make it as a hide. Okay, I make it as a note, and after that there is a return on the view page. So that will be, I have also created into the employee folder, that is a backend employee salary. Here I want to create one of the details page. Okay, so I make it as a backend, and then the employee folder, and then the employee salary folder. That means employee underscore salary folder, and then here I want to use as a employee underscore salary underscore, I name it as a details. Okay, so this type of one of the page I want to create, and also I get a specific all the data. So that means all that variable, there is a two variable, I take it with our data array. So now I simply pass it in our this employee salary details page. So now we have to create this page in our employee salary folder, and now I want to open it. Okay, first of all I copy it. So now here I create another new file, and now click as a save as, and name it as employee salary details .blade.php. So that will be our page. So this page will be one of the list page. So better I want to do into the employee salary, that is one of the view page. So I copied the total things from here. Okay, I copy it from here, and now in our employee salary details, yeah, I paste it. So I simply paste it. Now we will customize it as per our demand. So that will be as a employee salary, not that list. I want to change it as a details. Okay, so that will be as a employee salary details, and here we don't need any on any button. So right now I remove this button, and then I want to visible that serial number. I want to visible not that name. I want to visible that our previous salary. Okay, that will be as a previous salary. I want to visible that increment salary, present salary, and the effective date. So that will be all that our field. So that is previous salary, and then increment salary, right? That will be the increment salary. That will be as a present salary, and then another one will be that is our previous salary, present salary, increment salary, and then effected salary, right? So better I want to use it, that is one of the date format. So I make it as effected date. Okay, so that's all right now. That's all enough for me. So right now I don't need this, and also here we don't need any action, right? So I remove it. So that is 1 2 3 4 5. I want to take as 1 2 3 4 5. So right now we don't need this td, and also here we don't need this td. I remove this. Okay, so friend, from to this position I pass all the data as a salary, right? So here also we have to actually for each it. So that means that is a salary log data. I pass it in our salary details page. So now with this salary log I want to do, which means with the salary log as key, and I name it as a value. Okay, or rather than you can change it as per your demand. So right now I make it as a log. So that will be our variable. So now with this log I want to visible all that our field name, or all that field name means if you go to our salary employee log, that means the employee salary log. If you go to the structure, so that is all that our field. So for the first one, our first one is as a previous salary. So previous salary means what? Previous salary means here, that is our field name, database field name as a previous salary. So now with this log I want to access as a previous salary, right? And then the incremented salary, so that will be our another field, as a increment. So I copy this field name, and that will be as a, with this log I want to access that increment salary, and then the present salary. So that will be as a present salary. I copy it, so that will be as a present salary, and then effected date, right? So that will be as a effected date. That means the effected salary. So now I copy it. So with this log, it will be as the effected salary. Perfect. So friend, I hope it is very much clear to you. So now let's check this out. If everything okay, it should be work. Now if you click as a save all, and then here I click as a refresh. So syntax error unexpected this in our employee salary controller. Now let's check this out. If you go to that employee salary controller, here I miss, you can see I didn't I didn't add that semicolon. So here we have to add that semicolon. Now click as a save all, and now refresh it again. Yeah, it's perfect. So right now that is our test user. So this the test user. Here I already add that incremented history, right? So now if you go to that as a view, so now you can see it's now opening with the new tab, and yes, it's perfect. So previously for this employee that was actually 4,000, increment actually 0, and present salary as this one, right? So that is the effective date, and after that I have updated that user as a 4,000 was previous salary. I incremented for this user as a 1,000, and that is a right now this employee present salary as a 5,000, and that is the effective date, right? Perfect. So it's perfectly getting all that our this employee log history data, and right now that is actually we don't need any data from, that means the form data. If you go to our details, into the details, that is actually our data table. So right now I remove this data table. Okay, I remove it, and now if you click the save all, now it will be better. With the refresh, yeah, you can see it's perfect. So friend, here we perfectly getting this data, and also if you want to visible this user name, then actually it should be better, right? Because I have also getting that name. You can see from to the user I have also getting that appropriate specific ID name, and I take the things with this details variable, and also I pass it on here. So right now we can also use that our user name, right? We can able to use it. So that is, you know, our employee salary details. I pass this data. Better after, that is our title, right? That is the employee salary details. Better after this I take one of the h5 tag as a h5 tag, and with the h5 I want to put one of the strong code. Okay, strong code with the employee name I want to visible, and that will be the without details, right? Because of all from to this position I get all that our user specific ID data, take the things with this variable as the details. So now with these details I want to simply display the name. That means our database user table field name as a name, right? So it will be display that name. I copy it, and also if you want to actually display the multiple things, you can use it. Because of all I have already get all the data from to the user, right? And I also get that specific one requested ID data. So right now I also want to visible that employee ID number, ID. Okay, ID number. ID number means with these details I want to access our ID field. If you go to our user table, into the user table, our ID field name, that is actually you can see there is ID underscore number. So now I want to use it as ID underscore number. Perfect. So now it should be display. Now click as a save all, and now go to our page. That is actually our page. Now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see it's perfectly visible. Our employee name as a test user, and employee ID number is also, we have already created, that means generated this unique one of the ID. That means this employee ID is also visible, right friend? That means everything is great, everything is working perfectly on here. I hope every part is very much clear to you. And now I want to update one things here. If you click it, then actually opening with the new browser, right? So you can also take it, rather than if you don't want to use it, as I told you before, into the employee salary. If you go to that employee salary view, into the view, maybe I use one of the target. right? You can see I use that as a target underscore blank. So better I want to actually take it, rather than if you don't want to use it, you can actually remove it from to this position. So that's all. So right now if you go to another employee salary story, so that is our Hassan 33. Right now I want to increment it, so that is a salary previous as a 3000, so now I make it as a another 3000. okay, I make it as another 3000, and effective date I want to change it as a today, and now click as a submit. So now you can see it's now showing as a employee salary incremented successfully. So that means this is now incremented successfully. And now if you go to that view, yeah, you can see this employee name is visible as a Hassan, and that is a 333, and that is our employee ID number. Previous, that is a 3000. Right now I have incremented as a 3000. Right now our total present salary for this Hassan this employee as a 6000. okay, so that is our previous effective date, and now that is our today effective date, right? Everything is great. I hope friend you like it very much. So now we successfully complete our salary incremented option. In our next video I want to discuss about that employee leave. okay, how can actually manage that employee leave, and here that will be very much interactive one of the part. So step by step everything I will show you with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.